Now at 5, how the city of Pittsburgh's upgrading its 911 system to make it easier for residents to get help. Plus, why inspectors in Carthage, Missouri have shut down one of the city's largest motels.
The Biden administration announces an end date for the country's COVID-19 public health emergency. I'm Nicole D'Antonio on Capitol Hill with what this move will mean and why Republicans want it over sooner.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Pittsburgh Police Department launches new technology that allows the community to text 911 rather than just make a call. This is KOAM News at 5. I'm Dow Quick. The new texting system allows operators to act just as fast as responding to text or calls, either one they say. The police department says the system can improve communication with people who have disabilities and victims who do not have the ability to verbally call for help.
We would ask that at the top in the 2 line, just put 911, no dashes, just 911, and the brief description of the emergency and who you need, fire, ambulance, or police, or all. And keep communications brief and concise and to the point.
Dispatch has already received requests for help through texting since the update. One of Carthage, Missouri's largest motels has been shut down by inspectors. Officials said the Quality Inn and Suites had issues with its fire suppression system that posed a life safety issue to the public. Those issues include sheetrock that had fallen from the ceiling in the room with the swimming pool, mold, and broken insulation near the fire suppression system. The motel's owners have begun the process of finding someone to make the repairs. Pitt State education students got a chance to pick the brains of some of the best educators in the state. The PSU Department of Teaching and Leadership hosted the Kansas Teacher of the Year team. That team is made up of all the Regional Teacher of the Year award winners. Students were able to speak with the team to learn about new ideas and practices for educating kids.
It's going to be a lot of interactive dialogue and just a time for these emerging teachers to become better acquainted with these veteran teachers who represent excellence in education.
The Teacher of the Year team conducts workshops and visits other educators throughout the year. Chief Meteorologist Doug Heddy joins us now with a first look at the weather.
Well, we had a little bit more of snow and sleet across the region, mainly along and south of the I-44 corridor earlier this afternoon, but anything that has fallen has quickly pushed out of the region. We look pretty quiet as we go through the rest of the evening hours. Not a whole bunch going on, just a lot of clouds. Still the ongoing ice storm down through parts of Arkansas, stretching all the way back into parts of Texas. For us, we have to deal with the cold. Look at our temps. We're sitting into lower 20s. The Arctic air is still in place, but will start to retreat a bit as we go through the next few days. Plus, we have wind chill factors into the mid-teens. So if you are going to be out this evening, make sure you bundle up as we drop back into the teens. A lot of clouds. We do start to warm things back up a bit. We're going to look at that here in just a bit.
All right, see you soon. The district attorney indicated more charges could be filed as the investigation into the police beating of Tyree Nichols unfolds. 5 former officers are already charged with second-degree murder in that case. 2 other officers were relieved of their duties pending investigation. The Memphis Fire Department announced it fired 2 paramedics and a lieutenant for not following policies and protocols. Video shows Nichols wasn't given medical attention for several crucial minutes. He died 3 days later. It's been nearly 3 years since then President Trump announced emergency measures meant to keep the public safe during the COVID pandemic. Now the White House says it will end the public emergency declarations in May. Reporter Nicole D'Antonio is on Capitol Hill, where some Republicans are saying they want to see the president act now.
President Biden says in May, the emergency COVID declarations in place since the start of the pandemic will come to an end. The move will mean an end to free testing, treatments, and vaccines.
This is particularly concerning since COVID disproportionately hits those segments of the population that have the most difficulty accessing good medical care and preventive health services.
It could also end Title 42, the Trump-era policy barring asylum seekers from entering the country due to the pandemic. Some Republican-led states have already sued to keep that policy in place. The Supreme Court is set to hear arguments later this month.
The Mueller emergency will end when the Supreme Court ends it.
being extended to May the 15th to make sure we get everything done.
While many Republicans want to keep Title 42, they say the administration should be ending other pandemic emergency policies now and plan to vote on a bill to do just that.
Mr. President, if you know it's the right thing to do, don't wait until May. Let's open our country back up again, get our economy back up again.
But Democrats say it takes some time to wind this down right.
We want to make sure that the vaccine remains accessible to people. We want to make sure that testing is available through insurance programs. Those are the types of things that we're concerned about.
Meanwhile, the House Oversight Committee holds its first hearing under Republican leadership Wednesday, looking into potential fraud and abuse of federal pandemic relief money. Nicole D'Antonio, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
Health data shows an average of 500 people die each day in the U.S. from COVID-19. That is still greater than what we see in a typical flu season. Dallas police are asking for the public's help identifying a man they want to speak with about the disappearance of two rare emperor tamarin monkeys from the Dallas Zoo. It's not the first incident at the zoo this month. On January 21st, an endangered vulture was found dead, and about 2 weeks earlier, a clouded leopard disappeared. The leopard was eventually found safe, but authorities say a suspicious tear was found in her enclosure. Still ahead, reducing your environmental impact while traveling.
Sustainability is a big buzzword in travel these days. I'm Wendy Gillette in Los Cabos, Mexico, with tips on how to be a more responsible tourist.
And next in Health Watch, we're going to look at what kinds of injuries warrant going to the ER versus urgent care. Topping today's Health Watch, the coronavirus remains a global health emergency, but there is hope the pandemic may be reaching an inflection point where higher levels of immunity can lower virus-related deaths. The director of the World Health Organization says that in the coming year, the world could transition to a new phase in which hospitalizations and deaths are reduced to the lowest levels possible. A new survey finds a lot of parents are concerned about their children's mental health. According to the Pew Research Center, 40% of parents surveyed are extremely or very worried their children will be struggling with anxiety or depression at some point. That's followed by bullying, which worries 35% of parents. Experts say parents can watch for signs of anxiety and depression like decreased interest in things, poor self-esteem, and changes in mood, eating, or sleep. If you have a fever or twisted your ankle or you're experiencing chest pain, you need to seek medical treatment, but where do you go? Well, reporter Bradley Blackburn tells us when you should go to the ER versus going to visit urgent care.
There are a lot of viruses going around this time of year, and if you're one of the many who are feeling sick, you may be wondering where to go for treatment. It can be tricky to know if you should head to the emergency room or an urgent care center. Experts say both provide rapid treatment for medical issues, but there are some differences to consider depending on your medical needs. When it comes to non-emergencies, doctors recommend that people first start with either their primary care physicians or urgent care and only visit the emergency room when all other options don't work. Urgent care is designed to handle less serious illnesses and medical situations, including minor cuts and burns, sprains, sinus and ear infections, and allergies. The urgent care center wait time is typically less than at the ER, and your bill can also be considerably lower. But there are moments when the ER is critical, like major trauma, large wounds, stroke, loss of consciousness, heart attack, or chest pain, and uncontrollable bleeding. And while the cost is higher in those situations, it could mean life or death. Finally, doctors say people with underlying health conditions, including diabetes and cancer, should always seek emergency treatment at a hospital. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News, New York.
If you do decide on an urgent care center, doctors recommend going to one that's affiliated with a hospital so doctors can easily share records if you do end up having to go to the hospital. People who experience 3 or more concussions could have issues with brain function later in life. A UK study of more than 15,000 participants found people who suffered at least 3 concussions had significantly worse cognitive function and that it got successively worse with each injury. Doctors say patients who've had concussions should be warned of the dangers of continuing a high-risk sport or work. And that is a look at today's health news. A little bit later, why some major insurers are no longer giving out policies on some Hyundai and Kia models.
Plus another cold night for us tonight, but we are going to start to warm things back up. We'll look at that coming up. Well, of course, another cold one for us today, and even a little bit more snow and sleet. Again, portions of the four-state area, mainly along and south of I-44. You can see indigo sky still. We got ice in the parking lot and a lot of slippery roads from Joplin south, but southeastern Kansas and then southwestern Missouri, our northern counties, you haven't seen anything over the past few days. So today, just a dusting in Joplin. We're sitting at 6.75 inches for the season. Average is 13. I actually forecasted 15 to 18, so we got to close that gap. I still think we have numerous shots for wintry weather as we go through the month of February, which traditionally is our snowiest month. Look at our temps. We're sitting low to mid 20s, so it's cold. We still have the Arctic air in place. Look at this, all the way down through parts of Texas. It will start to retreat a bit as we go through the next couple days, which is good, but we're going to have a cold night tonight. Wind chill factor sitting into the mid-teens across the region. Throughout the evening, just a lot of clouds, maybe a random flurry. We drop back all the way down to about 16 for an overnight low. All right, the sleet and snow we had earlier, it was quick, only lasted a couple hours, and as quickly as it moved in, it was out of here, but again, it was pretty heavy sleet and snow, especially south of I-44. Look at the ongoing ice storm down through Arkansas, stretching all the way back into parts of Texas. We do have another wave. It's right out here, southern parts of Arizona. As of right now, it looks like it's going to stay just south of the region tomorrow night into Thursday, so that's good news. At least it doesn't look like we're going to have to deal with any more wintry weather this week. All right, by morning, mid-teens, so a cold start, mostly cloudy skies. By the noon hour, warming up, near freezing. And then once we get into the afternoon, most of us into the mid-30s, 35 in Nevada, 34 in Pineville, Miami 34, 35 in Chanute. Now tomorrow night, you can see a little bit of pink right on the bottom of the screen. That is a wintry mix. It may get up into Benton County, it may get up into southern parts of Delaware County, but it should stay south of most of the four-state area. So we're going to keep it dry. As we go into Thursday morning, back into the upper 20s. And once we get into Thursday afternoon, check this out, high temps back into the mid 40s. So we are going to warm back up as we go through the next couple days. Wind chill factors tonight still low, 10 to about 15, but they definitely rebound as we get into the afternoon hours for us. Tomorrow, here's your day planner, 15 to start, 31 by noon. High temp right around 36. A lot of clouds once again as we go through the daytime hours. All right, so here's that wave tomorrow night. You can see it just south of us. It pushes by, and then we look pretty good. Going into the weekend, a lot of clouds, a storm system passing through the Great Lakes. It will start to get active again next week. We get some rain in here. This is late Monday into Tuesday, and then it starts getting interesting again next Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. But at least we get a little bit of a break over the next few days. 36 tomorrow, 45 on Thursday, 42 on Friday. Overall, the weekend looks pretty good. 49 Saturday, near 60 by Sunday, 61 on Monday, and then it gets a little tricky again next week, which we'll worry about in a few days.
Because we'll have to then, but in the meantime, 60, that sounds pretty nice on Monday.
Not bad at all.
Thanks, Zach. Coming up, some tips to be a sustainable traveler. First, though, we honor a local veteran. Jack Barnes served in the U.S. Army from 1966 to 1968. The Walker, Missouri native was stationed in Korea, and we salute Private Jack Barnes, a four-state hero. Topping today's Consumer Watch, major insurers, Progressive and State Farm, have stopped providing new policies for certain Hyundai and Kia models. Comes after the Highway Loss Data Institute found that theft claims for 2015 to 2019 Hyundai and Kia vehicles were almost twice as high as for other automakers. The reason for the higher theft claims is a lack of electronic immobilizers in some Hyundai and Kia models that would otherwise prevent thieves from breaking in and bypassing the ignition. The Justice Department wants to look into Tesla's autopilot and full self-driving systems. The company confirms the DOJ has requested documents related to the technology. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration is investigating Tesla systems already. That's after reports that some autopilot-engaged Teslas had crashed into emergency vehicles. A government report indicates the system was partly to blame for a fatal accident, but Tesla argues autopilot is safer than normal driving because it keeps vehicles in their lanes. Sustainability is a hot topic right now in the travel world. Protecting the environment is the most common way people associate it with the industry. But as Wendy Gillette reports from Los Cabos, Mexico, sustainability extends to many other areas.
A drone helps snorkel tour leaders in the Sea of Cortez in Mexico spot schools of fish from above. In Cabo Pulmo National Park, 60 miles north of Los Cabos, sea lions and other marine life abound, thanks to a ban on fishing and additional protections instituted almost 3 decades ago when almost all of the fish had disappeared.
It is full of life. The fish found it, and it is really the place that is representing what Jacques Cousteau once called the entire Sea of Cortez, the aquarium of the world.
Many in the Los Cabos area are fixated on protecting the environment in and out of the water. In front of Grand Velas Resort, a beach cleaner and employees routinely sweep the sand, removing debris.
When you walk on a beach in Los Cabos, you see a clear blue color on the ocean and clean brown sand. That's how we want to keep it.
We stayed at Grand Velas and Hotel El Ganzo for special rates, where art residencies and a community center are part of the sustainability initiatives.
I think it's not just a matter of giving back to the community, it's a matter of giving back something to the world.
Sustainability is so important here. The Los Cabos Tourism Board has devised 10 rules for responsible tourists, including shopping at local businesses and not bargaining with owners.
When you are making a sustainable impact in the community, you are helping to advance in the quality of life that everyone has.
Laurence Jobeget recently visited Los Cabos with her family from Lexington, Kentucky.
I've seen that actually in the shops in Cabos. They just give like paper bags, which was quite interesting.
A new survey from Expedia finds 90% of consumers are now looking for sustainable options when traveling. Wendy Gillette, CBS News, Los Cabos, Mexico.
Few other sustainability rules for tourists include managing your waste, learning and respecting the community's customs, and taking photos rather than removing anything from its natural environment. The housing market continues to lose momentum. According to the S&P CoreLogic Case-Shiller U.S. National Home Price Index, November was the 5th consecutive month home prices declined. Compared to the year before, home prices rose 7.7% in November, but that's a smaller jump than the 9% growth seen in October. The Federal Reserve's interest rate hikes have priced out a lot of prospective home buyers. Showtime is changing its name for the first time in its 47-year history. The premium TV network is integrating with Paramount streaming service and will become Paramount Plus with Showtime later this year. The merge comes as the companies try to adapt to the rapidly changing media landscape. Paramount executives promise a more compelling offering to consumers versus subscribing to each service separately. A final check of the forecast next. Up next on the CBS Evening News, a look at how an ice storm is impacting millions of Americans. Then on KOAM News at 6, we're going to have more on upgrades to Pittsburgh's 911 system, allowing people to text their emergencies to dispatchers. Plus, the Joplin Police Department provides active shooter training to local healthcare workers. And the Missouri Southern women are back in the national rankings. Stay with us for the CBS Evening News and then KOAM News at 6. It's kind of cold out there, Doug.
It is. It's going to be a cold night for us tonight. We drop back into the mid-teens once again. But we do start to warm things back up the next few days. Above freezing tomorrow, into the 40s Thursday, Friday, Saturday, near 60 by Sunday and Monday. And then rain, snow chances once again, especially late next week. But at least we get a break.
We could use one. Thanks for joining us. The CBS Evening News is next. And of course, we're going to be right back here for KOAM News at 6. We'll see you then. Let's make it a great evening.